product universe here. Karoline Leavitt blasts district court judges for usurping President Trump. This is spot on.
A couple of questions, Caroline.
Happy Friday.
Can you give us a preview of the President's Justice Department speech?
Sure, I'd be happy to. As you know, the President will be heading there later this afternoon. The Attorney General will be there, as well as the FBI Director, Kash Patel. And the President is going to give a speech focused on restoring law and order to our country. In the last 4 years under the Biden administration, we unfortunately saw a Department of Justice that was weaponized against Americans for their political ideologies. It was not focused on fighting violent crime and restoring law and order and public safety. So the President will be talking about his intention to restore those very basic American values to our country. And he will also be there with fentanyl families and angel moms who have lost their children at the hands of illegal migrant criminals who the previous administration allowed into our country, and also, of course, to illegal Chinese fentanyl, which, as you all know, the President feels very strongly about cracking down on drug cartels, drug trafficking, and human trafficking as well. So you'll hear about all that later this afternoon. I don't want to get ahead of the President any more than that.
Caroline, district court rulings about all the fired probationary workers use the same language here just now that was in the statement about fighting back against that ruling. Do you mean appealing or something else? And does the administration plan to comply with those orders in the meantime?
Fighting back by appealing, fighting back by using the full weight of the White House counsel's office and our lawyers at the federal government who believe that this injunction is entirely unconstitutional. And it is, for anybody who has a basic understanding of the law. You cannot have a low-level district court judge filing an injunction to usurp the executive authority of the President of the United States. That is completely absurd. And as the executive of the executive branch, the President has the ability to fire or hire. And you have these lower-level judges who are trying to block this President's agenda. It's very clear. And as I just cited, I was appalled by the statistic when I saw it this morning. In 1 month, in February, there have been 15 injunctions of this administration in our agenda. In 3 years under the Biden administration, there were 14 injunctions. So it's very clear that there are judicial activists throughout our judicial branch who are trying to block this President's executive authority. We are going to fight back. And as anyone who saw President Trump and his legal team fighting back, they know how to do it. He was indicted nearly 200 times, and he's in the Oval Office now because all of the indictments, all of these injunctions have always been unconstitutional and unfair. They are led by partisan activists who are trying to usurp the will of this President, and we're not going to stand for it. Thanks, guys.
Karoline Leavitt is totally spot on here. There are federal district court judges who are low-level judges who are simply using their authority to usurp the will of President Trump and his agenda. As with a simple ruling, they have stopped President Trump's agenda dead in its tracks in some areas. It is totally unfair and unconstitutional, as Karoline Leavitt said, for these low-level judges to stop President Trump's agenda with their rulings. It would make sense if the Supreme Court made a ruling to stop President Trump's agenda, but not these low-level district court judges, as it is unfair that a low-level district court judge has more power than the president, as they weren't elected by 70-something million people with a mandate. The president was. So this is a total and utter sham, a sham which should not happen, a sham which did not happen under the Biden administration. It has already happened more in the Trump administration in mere weeks than it did in years under Biden. This is blatant judicial activism and a new form of lawfare, which is being used to sabotage President Trump and the American people. This is the Democrats' new dirty political game to stop President Trump from accomplishing what the American people elected him to do. This is totally unfair and unconstitutional and needs to be stopped. We can't have a country if a low-level district court judge has more authority than the president. Our country is not governed by district court judges. It is governed by a president and the people, with a Congress and a Supreme Court. This sham needs to end, and the Supreme Court needs to get involved. In time, these partisan political activist judges will fail, and President Trump will only become more popular, as the American people see the unfairness of the partisan political lawfare, which is continuing to go on through these actions of these district court judges blocking the will of the people and the president. This deserves to be shared because Karoline Leavitt is totally right about these partisan political hacks who are usurping the will of the president when they have no authority to do so. These district court judges are subverting the will of democracy and the will of 70 million Americans' mandate of President Trump's agenda. But that's just my 2 cents, and you are entitled to your 2 cents. If you want, share your opinion in the comments below, as all viewpoints are welcome. If you enjoyed this informational and educational video, then give the video a like and turn on my channel notifications so that you'll be notified the next time I release a new video. Thanks for watching. God bless you, and God bless America.